Hey everybody. So, a lot of times people struggle with adjusting entries, and they're always asking, why are adjusting entries so hard? And I think the answer is that adjusting entries often get presented to you in a couple of different formats. So, just when you think you have it mastered, then they give you another uh, another version of it with alternate wording and different numbers that really throws you off. So I just wanted to walk you through a couple of examples of the different types of wording you'll see with adjusting entries, um, and see that even though the wording makes it sound different, you're working on the exact same problem. So here's our first one. It says at the beginning of the month, a company had $2,000 worth of office supplies. During the month, they purchased an additional $1,000 in supplies. And at the end of the month, a physical count shows that only $500 worth of supplies remain. So this is an adjusting entry for the amount of supplies asset we've used up and we want to claim as an expense. So they present it this way. So we have to say, okay, we had 2,000 at the beginning. We added another 1,000, which means then we had 3,000 that were available. And then at the end of the month, we only had 500. So if we say 3,000 available minus 500 left, we must have used up $2,500 worth of supplies. So then we do our adjusting entry. We do a debit to supplies expense of 2,500, and we would do a credit to supplies, the asset, for 2,500. So that's not too bad. But then the next time we see the problem, they may word it this way, something way simpler that just says during the month, the company used $2,500 worth of supplies. And if you've gotten used to this more complicated way, this seems so simple that it makes you doubt you're doing it right. Or the other way around, if you get used to this more simple way, then when you see one like this, you're like, whoa, that's so much information. It's the exact same problem. It's just in one wording, it's making you figure out how much supplies were used up. And in the other, it's telling you how much were used up. So the key to these is always ask myself how much was consumed of the supplies, because the amount that was consumed or used up will be the amount I do the adjustment for. I'll claim that amount used up as an expense and reduce the asset by that much. Let me give you another example. On this one, it says your company owes employees $3,000 in salaries for work done in December, but the payment has not will not be made until January. And so again, pretty straightforward. If we have incurred the expense, we're going to do salaries expense, and we'll debit that $3,000, and then we'll do salaries payable, if I could spell it right, and we'll credit that 3,000. So all we're saying with that journal entry is people have earned money, so we're claiming the expense, but we haven't paid them yet. We're going to pay them next month. So we're going to increase the payable, which is a liability. So that seems pretty doable, but then you'll get hit with the same problem with a different wording. Your company's employees earn $1,000 per day in wages. Okay. At the end of December, employees have worked for 3 days since their last paycheck. Okay. But they will not be paid until the next payday on January 3rd. So again, this is the exact same problem, but now they're trying to force me to figure out how much salaries expense. And so it can get confusing because you'll get used to seeing it one way and then they'll throw it at you another. But here all we're saying is if they earn $1,000 a day, and since the last paycheck they've worked 3 days, that means they've earned $1,000, but we won't be paying it until January. So we need to do an adjusting entry on the last day of December to show the expense that we've incurred of $3,000 in salaries, but that we won't be paying it until the next financial period. Two more examples, and hopefully this is helpful to you. Here it is. A business paid $6,000 on December 1st for 6 months of rent. At December 31st, 1 month of rent has expired. The word expired often throws people off because they're like, what does that mean? It just means that you've used up 1 month's worth of rent. So we have to do an adjusting entry to show that we've used up 1 month's worth of rent. And so We'll debit our rent expense. Okay, I can't spell or I can't type. All right. We'll debit rent expense for 1 month's worth. So if $6,000 represents 6 months worth, we'll take 6,000 divided by 6, and we know that 1 month's worth is $1,000. And then we'll credit our prepaid rent account. So this journal entry says have used up $1,000 of this prepaid rent asset. This was money that we'd paid in advance for rent, and we're going to claim that as an expense. So that seems pretty easy, but then they'll hit us with it worded this way. A business pays $6,000 on December 1st for 6 months of rent. Provide an adjusting entry for rent at December 31st. So now they're making us make this leap that if we started this on December 1st and we're making the adjusting entry on December 31st, that represents 1 month's worth, and they don't state 1 month. So again, just alternate wordings you'll see, and this is what makes these so difficult. Last one, a business purchased machinery for $36,000 with an expected useful life of 6 years and no salvage value. Record the annual depreciation on December 31st. Okay, so to do that, we just say it's the cost minus any salvage value, and there's none, so 36,000 minus zero, divided by 6 years gives us $6,000 per year. So we'll do our adjusting entry, depreciation expense, $6,000, and then accumulated depreciation. Okay, I think I spelled it wrong, but nobody cares. Of $6,000. Another way you might see this is on December 31st, depreciation expense on machinery of $6,000 is recognized. So again, on this one, they just give you the amount and you're like, do I need to do something with that? And on this one, they give you the information you need to calculate it. So you have to read it carefully to understand what exactly they're saying. And that is why adjusting entries are so hard. Anyway, so I hope this helps, just seeing some examples of the way they're worded and the alternate wordings you might see. And as always, if you have questions, put them down in the comment section and I try to answer them as quickly as I can. And as always, if you can, like or subscribe to the channel so it gets out there for other people to see. And I hope you have a great day and good luck with adjusting entries.